Welcome to United Way Community Connections. I'm June Antony, and with me today, Zana Renfro, Campaign Manager and Communications Manager. So she has double title.
Lots of hats.
So campaign is over with.
Yes, it is.
Tell me about it.
Campaign this year was really great. It can be the same a lot of years from year to year, but this year was interesting because compared to the year before, there weren't any particular national disasters in our face. Last year we faced the effects of Katrina and how it worked its way up to Paducah and McCracken County and the region. And it didn't seem like, other than the war in Iraq, there was much going on that got people's attention locally and just made them have the passion to want to help. So that part was different. It was a United Way campaign. It was just us out talking to the community.
Very low-keyed, seems like.
And it was. It really was. It was just us talking to the community, saying, this is what your United Way dollars can do in Paducah and McCracken County. So it was interesting, but I think if anything I could classify it was an education year.
Well, and that's what you need sometimes, because everything, a lot of things are changing and are new. I know we pared our campaign cabinet down. What effect do you think, if any, did that have?
Well, anytime you have volunteers are a rare commodity anyway.
Yes.
It's very hard to recruit volunteers. It's very hard to retain volunteers, and at the same time, educate them about what you're doing and hopefully show them a good time and give them that spark that makes them want to come back again. We have had campaign cabinets as large as 20 members. And you know as well as I do that communication with 20 people at 20 different times of the day, it can be a hard thing.
Different companies, different places, different time frames.
So we did have some paring down this year. I think we had 10, and 10 was plenty. It seemed like the employee coordinators in the companies were the ones that really worked hard this year. They
are the key. I have always thought they are the key to everything.
Finding one person in each company that has a passion for helping people.
And that people like, respect, and respond to. And yes, it makes the difference. And they're the key to, they hold the key, I think, to every dollar that's raised for the most part.
We have some that have been doing it for years. We have others that just started this year new, have some new companies. And for them to be able to relay that information and that message coming from their peers, they hear that, and it really goes to their heart. So along with those employee coordinators, we sent in some partner agency spokespeople, which were directors or volunteers or even some of the victims, and that seemed to be well received this year. So I'd say this year education was our top goal.
Well, and apparently it worked, because tell me what the total was again.
I believe it was $1,020,147.74, something in that neighborhood. Yeah. We exceeded last year, which always makes us happy, because you know, we don't always want to make it about the money, but the truth is it's the money that helps provide the services for the people who need help. And we all know that those needs are not going down. There are more people every day that have tragedy happen in their life, and they need some help. So we always like to see the totals go up, and we're so grateful for how much we raise. And I'll say again, I think we're the only group in Paducah and McCracken County that in a single 4-month event or year-round, however you want to look at it, can raise over $1 million, especially 2 years in a row.
Particularly in one county, because most communities and most organizations raising funds go into other states or other counties, and basically ours are in the workforce here. They may live somewhere else, and but I think our donors cannot be thanked enough, because it has just been a wonderful year in the growth of it, and I think the intent of the donors, and they're realizing United Way cares about my dollars, and they care about this community, and they want those dollars to go to the areas that that I'm interested in.
Right.
And hopefully that's what we will be able to say to them totally. This is what you told us you're interested in, and we're doing it.
Well, and along the same lines, as hard as it is to thank volunteers enough times, you can't. And there are 3 of us in the office with the board of directors, and not an unlimited budget, because we watch our pennies on how much we spend on postage and everything. And I think it's important too to make sure you contact those people who do donate and let them know where that money goes, who it's helping, how many people it's helping, and that they feel like they're a part of the campaign and a part of improving our community. And that goes back to, again, I don't think you can educate folks enough and let them know. And when I say education, I mean let them know what United Way does.
Yes.
Let them know what these partner agencies do. And the other hand is hopefully letting them know enough about the partner agencies if they meet someone that they run into in their life, that they can know where to turn.
And that, I think, is another key in the education process, is you don't always need the services yourself, but before the year is over, you're going to know someone that might need those services, whether it's in your neighborhood, your church. We all make those kind of referrals every year, sometimes more than one or two. And I think knowing about that and knowing exactly who to call, and if they don't know the agency, they can call us. And
Right.
so that does make a difference in saying and educating them about what the agencies are actually doing.
Well, and if I was a person in need, there could be nothing more heartbreaking than being in a crisis situation where you needed help. And reaching out for help would be a big struggle, a big hurdle to get over. The other thing is not having the correct information of where to go. And so it's almost like educating volunteers, educating donors, a little bit about what we do every day so that they can have that information to use it too, and they can be our advocates out there saying, not in the United Ways, not the partner agencies, but being this community's advocates to say, I know where you can go.
Yes.
And showing them, or even taking them by the hand and taking them there. And it's so important to do that, because I just think being a person that's in distress, it would be very, very hard to even ask for help. And so
It has to be, and to be shuffled from one place to the other. Sometimes I think we all need a one-stop shop, and you go one place to get the help that you need, and that's not possible. I realize that because of the different kinds of organizations, but it's got to be very frustrating. So we're making an inroad, I think, in letting the folks in the community know what's available and how to go about taking advantage
I hope
of it.
so. And in the past surveys that they've done across Paducah and McCracken County, reaching out to the community and saying, what are your needs? One of the things that came out several years ago was the Voices document that talked about, it was a community assessment done by community people that covered several different degrees of wealth or religion. Just, it was a very broad survey type. And the interesting thing that came out of it is folks did talk about not only a one-stop shop, but having a one-stop document
Yes.
that you could use to be able to give to people who see people regularly and know that they need to know at a fingertip where they can have that resource. And one of the things that I promoted this year was the Voices Resource Directory, which is available on our website, and we've had it in printed copy and have shared it with people, but it is a regional directory to some degree, talking about where you go for eye care, where you go for health care, medications and this type of thing. And that role in addressing and providing the grant money that it took to create that document, to me proves that United Way has a role in raising the money and in also helping decide those focus areas where it needs to go. I look at us as kind of being the neutral entity here. We don't provide services, but we sure do know the people that do. So
I think bringing everybody to the table makes the difference for all of us.
And it does. It's hard when someone calls on the phone and asks for help directly, and you have to say to them, we don't provide help here, but what we do is, and talk to them about that. But these agencies work as hard as they know how, helping the people they help. And so United Way, in my opinion, even through the campaign, is talking to folks about the resources that are out there to try to educate folks too. So the money's important, but also the knowledge and the education's good too.
Well, now that we've finished the campaign, we've raised the money, and what do we do with it?
Well, now comes the exciting part, and this is where this isn't something I'm involved. This is your baby on this one. We get involved with our community impact and talk about the investments. So where does the money go? And I know recently you've had a request out to the community, and we probably need 60 folks.
We do, and we probably have 15, so I need a lot of folks to volunteer a couple of days during the month of March. So
And they come out, and I did participate with you last year, but if you've never been involved and never seen the stories and met the people and been to these places, it's a great opportunity to get an overview of who provides these services in our community and where their gaps are and what they need. So I served on it years and years ago as a citizen at large, and just enjoyed the opportunity, and it did pull at my heartstrings and made me understand a little deeper about what's needed in the community. But I'd encourage anybody to participate in that. And it's a very unique process that we go through to divide up the money. It's not staff that makes those decisions. It's not someone not from here making those decisions. It's 60 or so volunteers that sit down
all over the community,
and they go through the budgets. They go to site visits, and then they sit down and have these hearings. And what a wonderful way to know, if I donated dollars to United Way, that I had the opportunity to also volunteer and help decide where those funds went. And
making that decision is extremely important to local folks, and we always like to ask for the companies that provide that do an employee campaign. Let some of your employees come and make those decisions, because it makes a great deal of difference to them, and they carry it back to their coworkers and say, they can answer their concerns maybe and say, no, this is the way it is because I visited that agency.
Well, and I think it's so unique in the process that's laid out.
Yeah.
Because it's given back to the volunteers, it's given back to the donors to be able to make those choices. And a lot of times folks don't understand. They may say, well, I think this is great and they should get the most money, and you've got a group of people that sit down at a table that bring lots of experiences with them, whether it's professional or nonprofit or medical or child care, whatever, and they bring all those experiences with them at a table, and they sit down and they talk about it, and they come up with great new ideas that they pass along. But they also look at things and where maybe they think they're spending too much money, give them a resource where they could save X amount of dollars. So,
and that happens so many times because we get so caught up in it, and I'm sure the agencies do because they live it every day. They're providing the direct services, they're working with the clients, and sometimes lose sight probably of maybe another resource out there, and getting it from a volunteer that has put a lot of time and money in because they're givers into this, then they can say, well, I hadn't thought about that before. So it's very helpful. They get volunteers. They get many board members from the allocations process, the community investment process.
There's just no way, the way that United Way does it, there's no way you can sit and say to someone, I don't know anything. If you want to know more, we have every opportunity in the world. You can be a donor or not be a donor. If you just want to know more about it, come down.
Sure.
And I don't know of many other nonprofit agencies that give back, and I'm going to call it a gift because I think that's what it is, but can give back that gift of being able to participate in that process. It helps the agencies, it helps us, and I just think it's unique and just it's really fascinating what comes out of these meetings.
One of the things that makes United Ways across the country unique for years and years is the way we divide the money. Through the volunteer system, not staff. I always say we're the only fair share givers or leadership givers that never get a vote. But that's okay. We have the volunteers that are making that decision. I don't know of another organization that does it exactly that way, and for that reason, I think we are an extremely important part of this community because of that, because we involve 50 to 60 folks every year in that phase of it, and then in the campaign, it's totally a different thing. But when you're helping do both of it, when you work in the campaign cabinet or employee coordinator at your company, and then you come sit on the community investment team, you look at it through different eyes a lot of times, because you know how hard it was to get everybody giving, and then you think, well, it'll be a breeze to spend it. It is not an easy job at all.
And if I was an employee coordinator, the person that helps United Way raise the money in that campaign, the one thing I would say was what a way to gather passion and energy than going out and seeing this process. It would make it easier to say, hey folks, let's see if we can give another $1. Let's see if we can give another $5, and actually be able to say, sometimes it comes down to that, you know.
Exactly.
There's always more requests than we have money raised, and always will be. I don't know.
Will be.
that's just the way it is. But it's interesting. I think those decisions come easier for folks who have seen how hard it was to raise
Yes.
it, and then they also see how hard people are working and how, in my eyes, hopefully accountable and efficient United Way is with those dollars, because that's another part of it too. We're very open. It's an open book. We're very proud of the fact we keep our expenses down, and we don't have a huge staff. And to raise $1 million with 3 people and a staff, I found out a couple of weeks ago, is a lot. It's a lot, and I think we all work hard, and I hope the volunteers feel that too.
Well, and I think they do, and yet we, some way or other, regardless of the amount of time, we always make the time to service the volunteers. Whatever they need comes first, and yes, we are accountable. And in my mind, if you can't be accountable, I don't care if it's for $1 or $2,000, you have to be accountable for that money and that trust.
Most families in this day and age have X amount of dollars in their budgets that they can allow to go to a charity or a nonprofit, or sometimes it even comes into competition with their church. But the interesting thing about it is, and I would encourage everyone, when you're giving, give to an organization that you know something about. Give to an organization where you feel those dollars are being used. And as I'll say again, bragging on United Way, I think United Way does that to such a point that you could trace every penny and where it went. And to me, if I had X amount of dollars in my hand or in my pocket and I wanted to donate it, and I had 20 charities of choice, United Way for me would be that best choice, because 1, I know where the money was going. 2, I know exactly who it was helping in my community. And the other thing is, anytime you can take that amount of money and put it in one pile, it can do more good and more help to more people than any other way I know. You know, $100,000 can solve problems, where $200 may just put a Band-Aid on it. So
and we're looking to solve problems and not just put Band-Aids. And maybe in the past that's been the trend, but in many communities, not just in our community, but now we're truly looking to get to the roots of the problem, because if you put a Band-Aid on it, sometimes it heals up by itself and makes a difference. Sometimes it does not. And what we're looking for is those root causes of some of the problems that we see year after year after year, and other community members do.
Well, and I think it's unique too, once again, because United Way is almost that third party. That party that stands back and knows everyone really well, and knows the players that are out there and the things that are going on. And what we raise the money, which is very important. We have goals, we have focus areas, we have things we're working towards that have been molded by this community and its comments and its feedback. So we feel really good about where we're going, but campaign is tied so closely with that. And I have found that people have given this year so generously because the point was made, you are organized. United Way does have a business plan. They do know where they're going. They don't want to put a Band-Aid on it. They do want to see if they can get to the root of the problem. And I think people that donate money appreciate that.
I do, and I think also they want to get in and help also, because I think that is a key to all of it also, is to have people that want to get involved and make a difference in maybe one particular issue. It may not be widespread. What one person likes, another one might have a passion for something else, and I think that through United Way, or either if they don't want to get involved in one of our committees, and Lord knows we have a lot of them, but we can always guide them to an agency that they can begin to work with and make a difference.
What a gift that you can have people that have those passions and have those skills that they bring with them, that hopefully, and this will increase more and more, that people will look to United Way to be able to say, where can I help? What are you doing that I can fold into and just pick up and go? And as I said, the skills out there, people have skills they don't even realize they have. And they have skills that volunteers and volunteer organizations and nonprofit organizations can't afford to pay for. And what a gift, even if you can't afford to give in a monetary way, what a gift if you could give of your time. So United Way in the campaign, it's very short in the time we start to kick the campaign off and we celebrate it, but actually it goes on year round, and that's the way it should be. That's the way
And
it
we're
should be.
building year-round, doing something along the lines of getting ready for it, or anymore. Companies always years before would say, well, campaign kickoff time in September, that's when we're going to do our campaign. Anymore, some of them are saying, we don't have time in September. We'll do one in the springtime. How about that? Oh, great. Doesn't make any difference to us anymore.
No.
And because it's always a welcome. In fact, in the springtime, sometimes it's good to get out of the office after the winter time and go to visit a company with their employees and do a campaign. So
one thing I wanted to
always
mention
going.
too, and this is new, it's new thinking, it's a new way of doing business, but our board chose to designate a small amount of funds this year, I'll say $1,000, to be able to help us with community impact. And right now I'm excited because this is happening this week. We've updated our website. And some might say, well, that's a fancy frou-frou kind of thing to have, and it's really not. And I guess I wanted to encourage people to go to unitedwaypaducah.org, because when this website is completed, it will have resources. It'll have our resource directory online of where you can turn and where you can go for help. It will have detailed descriptions of each of the partner agencies, the hours they're open, what exactly they provide. It will have information that can be accessible for anyone. And I think it's really, really important to be able to say it's just another way to be able to communicate and get that information out there. So I'm excited about it because communicating is a lot of this. We talk about the education, but helping folks when they're in need and helping folks that are out there in the community that just have met someone know where to go and where to turn. I think the website will provide a lot of those resources, and once again, we're very conscientious about our postage and all the things associated with it, so I think it's an economical way too to be able to say, you'll know where to turn. Folks in the community need to know where to turn for information only.
Well, and there's just a wealth of information that will be put on there. We've had one in the past with staff trying to keep it up, and sometimes we do miss those things, but our application process will be on there. There's just our board of directors, and I think anymore, technology is the way people are going. I know most our postage comes down because we do a lot of correspondence with email. We send the newsletters out that way, and it's just a good way for us to be able to serve people in a real way.
And you had mentioned the application for community investment, the place to go to pull the application to know what it takes to be a United Way partner, or if our grants are available. Someone may hear about it and not know anything about it, or where to go get the application, or how to fill it out, or the criteria. What a great thing to do, because now most people do have access to internet, and if they don't, there are places that provide that, such as the library at no charge. But what a good thing to do to have that information out there to say, those focus areas are my focus areas. I think I'll apply for that grant. And what it gives back to United Way is another resource. Knowing about another resource that takes care of, it has to be in line with United Way's focus areas, but if we've got more people working together on the same path, hopefully we'll see some solutions.
And I think we really will. And we've got a few minutes, and I wanted to wrap up because sometimes we don't hear whether what we do really makes that much difference. But yesterday, in talking with one of our former organizations that applied for emerging needs funding, My Very Own project with the bags of love for the meth kids and that sort of thing. And it started because of Amy Watson at the TV station and this one woman in seeing that, and she began this program sort of as a living room program, and she told me yesterday, and United Way's provided funding for them on 2 different occasions. She told me yesterday that they have programs just like this in 43 states and in New Zealand and in Australia. and the New Zealand folks are talking about taking it to Africa, and it is just going like wildfire. And
That's
she
wonderful.
said we never would have been able to do it without United Way being a part of it, and with partnering with you all, you've opened those doors for us. So bags and bags of full of love going out, and it makes me feel good personally to know United Way had something to do with serving these kids that I will never see. But I know that they're being served, that they have that warm blanket and the warm quilt to take care of them. So those are just some of the little things that we do that...
Well, it makes you want to encourage those folks who might have the same kind of idea or same passion about something. Let it out. Let it
Yeah.
be known. Come talk to us about it.
Somebody
and
somewhere can come up with a program, and it doesn't have to be a lot of money involved in it. Many times it's just the idea, and then someone that it just takes off, and with
When
people
someone
getting
could-
involved.
Someone could have the idea, someone could have the skills to organize it,
Yes.
someone could have the skills to market it, someone could have the money to fund it, and it's just, that's the part that gets me excited, is that,
Yeah.
that there's such possibility out there, but it's going to take all of us coming from different places with different skills to be able to pull it all together, and it just helps so many people. So never underestimate the power of imagination, I guess.
Well, and that is United Way's role in being a leader, to bring a lot of different people to the table that would not come to the table any other way, because they don't know each other, they don't know what the other does. And United Way is certainly moving out and taking that lead in facilitating, bringing organizations together. And
I think that's the
so
perfect role. I think it's the perfect role. So.
It is. That, and sure, we have to provide the money, but sometimes more than anything else is the influence or the person that we know is interested in a particular area, then
Well, and
bringing them together.
You can't always sit there and say, I need more money, gimme, gimme, gimme. It just, you've got to give something back.
Sure.
And I think that just
And
reinforces.
that can be our gift. It definitely is, and that's, you'll see a lot of that and hear a lot of it in the days to come, I think. And we are out of time already. We have to wrap up in a hurry, but we've put one campaign together. We'll spend the money, and as you said, we are starting on the other one. So we need volunteers for a lot of different things. So to you out there in the audience, if you're watching, if you'd like to volunteer, if you have some time, call the United Way office, and we'd love to have you or direct you somewhere that you could make your talents work and enjoy something, doing something for other folks. So thank you for watching, and we'll be back another time.